Hey everyone, I've got a book update for you. I finished reading Game Changers by Dave Asprey, and I made a few notes on some of the high points. At the very end, he had kind of his top 3 tips. Number 1, practice gratitude. He said, follow Tony Robbins. Tell your wife and kids 3 things that you're grateful for every day. This will shift your attitude and give you more energy to put towards all of your endeavors. Find a way to be grateful for everything. And I gotta stop and say, I think that's so important. And Tony Robbins talks about this. I mean, being grateful for the smallest things. He practices gratitude every day. He starts his day off with that. And he's got this whole why about why it's so important. I mean, it has something to do with you can't be negative. You can't feel negative when you are in a state of gratitude. So it's important to do. It makes a big difference in your day, in your life, and it's important to be thankful for the little things because there's always a gazillion little things. I mean, be thankful for the coffee that you're drinking. Be thankful for the fact that you have a mobile phone that you can record videos on when you're sitting in a parking lot. And stop and just think about that. Do this every day, concentrating on these things. Even be thankful for your biggest obstacles and failures. Be thankful for all those things. Yesterday, it was a frustrating day. I spent almost the entire day stuffing envelopes and sealing them and labeling them and stamping them. Originally, my kids were supposed to do this whole project, but it's too much. It's too much for them, and I had to jump in and kind of spend my whole day doing it too, in addition to them. I mean, just so we could get this stuff out. And I was feeling frustrated, but at the same time, I thought, you know what? Doing this, I made a ton of phone calls. I made these IEB ambassador phone calls, and I had so many conversations with so many home inspectors all over the country. And they were much longer conversations than I would normally have. And so, this was one of those things. This was an obstacle, but I can be thankful for the things that I did get out of it. Always think of what you can be grateful for. Think of one failure that you're grateful for every day. That was something that he recommended. To think of one failure every day that you're grateful for. And that will help you to forgive, let go, and push your boundaries. On something that I do, two ways that I try to practice gratitude daily. One is every morning when I'm doing my miracle morning stuff, is I pray and I thank God for the things in my life that I am thankful for. So it forces me to actively think about them. And another is, you guys have probably heard me talk about this, but I picked this up from one of John Maxwell's books. He's probably mentioned it in a few books, where he did this gratitude journal for his wife, where every day for a year, he would write down in a journal things that he is grateful for around his wife. I did the same thing. I had heard about this a while ago, and I did it last year. I started in January of 2019, and then I did it just about every day for the rest of the year. I used Penzu. That's my online journal, Penzu. It works fine for me. There's probably a bunch of them out there. But I would journal every day about something I'm grateful for, maybe a few things I'm grateful for. You can imagine lately I've been writing a lot of journal entries surrounding the Structure Tech Christmas party and all the effort that's gone into that and all of the events that have been happening. I'm very grateful for those things, but it forces me to actively think about things that she does that I'm grateful for. And I think it's a positive way of starting out your day, of just putting that all into practice. And side note, while I'm bringing it up, at the end of the year for Christmas, I printed the whole thing out on some nice fancy paper, put it in these plastic sheets, and then I bought this nice binder type thing hearts on the outside or something like that. I don't know. Got that at Michael's or some craft store and put it all together. And that was her Christmas present. And it's probably the best gift that I've ever given somebody. That was well received, and it was good for both of us. So it was something to think about doing for your own spouse. And it's one of those things where it's a lot of work, but when it's only 2 minutes a day, it's kind of painless. It's not that much work when you do a little bit every day. It's the compound effect. And we'll talk about the compound effect when we talk about the book, The Slight Edge. That's for another day. But, all right, so that was point one. I knew I would get off on tangents, but that's okay. That's okay. That's part of what this is. Number 2 from the book, Game Changers, was understand your own wiring. We are all hardwired to do the following. Number 1, run away or hide from scary things or kill them. Number 2, eat everything you can. And number 3, reproduce. And once you've acknowledged the fact that these are all hardwired, the amount of shame and guilt that you feel when you do these things will be reduced tremendously. So just simply acknowledge the fact that you're hardwired to do these things. And I've heard this repeated a lot lately, that shaming and guilt that you put on yourself is extremely destructive. I'll come back to that in a second when I talk about David Osborne, because he just talked about it on this thing that I was on last night that I shared with you guys today. If you fall down on any of these, it's okay. Now try again, and with your active brain in charge, not your hardwired brain. So that was point number 2. And then takeaway number 3 is that your body does not listen to you very well, except when it comes to gratitude and love. But it does listen to the environment around you. And if you manipulate these variables in your favor, you can gain more willpower and more resilience than you ever thought possible. So it's just changing all of the stuff around you. There's a great book called The Blue Zones. And the author talks a lot about the people, the local author, by the way, Minneapolis guy. The premise is that the people who live the longest all over the world, they studied people where you got like a certain zip code or a certain town where they have way higher life expectancies than other people, and they tried to figure out what is it about these people. And really it's about having healthy lifestyles. It's not the water they drink, it's not the air they breathe, it's not the food they eat. It's a combination of all these things, but what they all have in common is that they have an environment that makes it easy for them to be healthy, to live long. It's community, it's religion, it's faith, it's how they eat, it's exercising, it's all these different things. And they have a system that makes it easy. Now, we do not have that. We have a system that makes it very difficult. You drive into any gas station, and what do you have available for purchase? I think it's about 90% crap. 90% of that stuff is stuff that you just shouldn't even be putting in your body that you get at a gas station. Every supermarket checkout, Target checkout, even the computer store. You go to what is it, Micro Center, and you're waiting in line, and it's just filled with garbage. So we don't make it easy for ourselves here in the U.S. to be healthy. But that's the point he's making, is that at least in your own house, and I think this is the point he's making, I think, at least in your own house, make it easier for yourself. Don't have sweets and crap sitting out on your counter. People who eat healthy are the ones who have fruit sitting out on the counter. Make your choice. Just taking these tiny little things can have a dramatic effect on what you bring into your body. Use smaller plates. Get rid of your big plates. You use small ones for smaller portions. It's all these little things. I feel like I'm preaching, but it all ties in together, and these are all things that I have found to be very helpful in my life. So I'm not preaching, I'm just sharing. Okay, I've talked about one sheets a little bit. I mentioned it during Eric's level 10 meeting this morning, and I shared it on the internal Structure Tech Facebook page, little blurb about one sheets. I would encourage all of you to do a one sheet. I'm challenging you to do a one sheet. When we do this planning retreat for Structure Tech, we're going to be sharing our one sheets. So you got to come prepared. And to learn more about this, I'd say follow those links that I put today on the Structure Tech Facebook page. One is a 1-hour training from Dirk, and the other is a 1-hour training from his mentor, David Osborne, real estate mogul dude. Awesome guy. And how was I going to bring him up? Yeah, he talked last night during that training. You'll see if you take the time to watch it. He talks about how you need to forgive yourself and let yourself go, and don't beat yourself up too much over these little things, because it is destructive. Don't be a perfectionist. So I am going to fill out my one sheet. When I'm done, I'm going to hide the financial stuff, because that's kind of private. It's nobody's business. I don't expect anybody else to be sharing their financial stuff with me or anybody else on the team. But I'm going to print out that one sheet. I'm going to laminate it, and I'm going to put it up in my basement shower. I was telling Tessa about this, and she was chuckling about it. I said, yeah, I already do this. I mean, I do the Miracle Morning routine every day, and I say my daily affirmations every day. That's one of the things that I do first thing in the morning, and I have all of my daily affirmations printed and laminated and put up in my shower. And so I say them to myself every day. This is just part of my routine. And when you say these things aloud, they become a part of you. And if your behavior is incongruent with who you say you are, it's like you're lying to yourself. And there's a lot of power in just saying these things aloud. So, and here's a quick shot of what I do, or what my shower looks like. Tessa thought it'd be funny if I included a photo of it. So here's a video clip instead. Here's a quick shot of my shower. And then here's a quick shot of what I say every day. Yeah, I'm letting you into my world a little here. It's more private stuff, I guess. But still, I'm sharing this with you to give you ideas. I listen to what the author of Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod, I listen to all of his daily affirmations, and I kind of copied some of his ideas, and that's where some of mine came from. I made it my own version of some of the stuff that he said. So nothing wrong with that. So those are my daily affirmations. I'm getting totally sidetracked here. Something else that I think I've told you guys this. It's a good tip that I've heard repeated many times. The guy who first said this, I believe, was Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N, motivational speaker. I think he's dead now. But something he said over and over was that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And I think that's really powerful. It's something that I have tried to be much more intentional about the last couple of years. I've been trying to spend my time with people who will bring my average up. I've been trying to be the smallest person in the room. That has been my goal. So, and if you don't have the ability to do that, well, there's a cheat that I learned about from somebody else, and it's listen to books or read books. Learn from other smart people. That's your cheat if you can't actually spend the time with really smart people. And, you know, that's something I spend a lot of time doing. I realized that I have the most creative juices. I am the most inspired first thing in the morning when I'm working out and I'm listening to an audiobook, or I'm watching some type of educational content like the one sheet training that Dirk was doing. If I'm sitting there, if I'm working out and I'm watching this, or I'm working out and I'm listening to an audiobook, that's where the creative juices start flowing. And I need to have a notebook and a pen right next to me. And I'll stop like 10 times in the middle of my workout to write down ideas that I have and things that I want to do. That's probably some of my most productive time. A lot of the time, though, I feel like I just get a little bit burnt out on books, and I just want to say, I'm going to watch a Netflix series during my workouts. And, I'm still working out. It's like, this is still productive time. I'm exercising. But it's like my brain shuts off. There is no creative thought happening during that time. And I think it's valuable time that I waste when I'm doing Netflix. Or Netflix, movies, whatever it is. So this year, I haven't yet figured out what's going on my one sheet, but I'm definitely going to limit the amount of time I spend watching anything, even if it's while I'm pumping iron, even if I'm working out. I'm going to focus more on books. It's going to be more books and more informative and helpful podcasts. I'll figure out what that looks like soon. And then one other book that I listened to this week, was Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. And this was just kind of a lighthearted romp. I didn't expect to get a whole lot of insight from this book, but I had a couple of different people tell me they recently read it. They recently read it and they really enjoyed it. So put that on my list. I figured I'll get through this quick, and I did. It's easy listening. And it was okay. There were some interesting stories. I got to look into Matthew McConaughey's world. I am no better for it now. It was largely a waste of time. That's my takeaway on Green Lights. You don't need to read it, but if you're looking for a break, do it on vacation or something. And then, that's it. That's all I got. Those are my notes. And thank you all for listening, watching, whatever. I appreciate you all. And this has been Reuben's Corner. Got to get some outro. Okay.